You know, I'm going to give you a history lesson.
We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country.
Start laughing! And when I do, start.
Also, y'all did some nasty-ass jokes on my ass, too.
Funny jokes and unfunny jokes come out of the same birth.
You f***ing guys are unbelievable.
Why are you laughing?
Evening, everybody. Welcome to a bonus episode of Why You Laughing, a history of comedy podcast. And today, I am pleased to introduce to you the Rich Vos roast, the legendarious legend, or whatever the fuck they call it. But it's the Rich Vos roast. That's how we all know it. To me, it's one of the best roasts of my lifetime. And the reason I say that is because it's all hilarious people on the dais, but also genuine friends, people that actually know each other. There's not an element of Martha Stewart thinking a joke crossed the line from Anthony Jeselnik. There's none of that. So it's nice because they all genuinely know each other and bust each other's balls. And you get a feel of that tough crowd element back. So this is from 2017. And the Comedy Cellar guys, the tough crowd guys, had roasts before. Another one, shame on me. This is actually one of the first ideas I had for a bonus episode, and we just hadn't done it. And another one like that is the Patrice roast. I think I said we would do that forever. Maybe around the anniversary of Patrice. So maybe we'll do that in a couple of months. But that's another one where I have been meaning to get to these, and I just haven't. And, there's a couple Comedy Central roasts that I think have been good in my lifetime. The one that I point to all the time is James Franco, because that's, I think, the closest assembly of friends that there are to any of those, Hollywood type of roasts. Yeah. And then a lot of them, you just have to, well, the Saget one's another great one, obviously, for similar reasons. But, a lot of you do have to appreciate while there are weird, Snoop Dogg and Mike Tyson and Martha Stewart and all these people are, William Shatner, these people that aren't comedians are on there just for some star power for some reason. Ratings are the reason. I don't know why I say some reason, but it is always better when it's genuine friends. And I think that's why those Dean Martin roasts were so great. Because, it's a bunch of stars, and maybe they tricked us. Maybe they've duped all of us, but they felt like genuine friends, and they were drinking, and they were being racially insensitive, which is a lot of fun.
It's the best.
The good old days.
Yeah.
But it felt like because Hollywood was such a smaller circle, it felt like Rickles and Klugman and all these other guys that would be on those roasts were genuinely, if not like best of friends, at least knew each other and hung out at parties and knew what to bust each other on. So I think you get a lot of that. You get that tough crowd element back, and it was really well done. It was really well produced. It was shot in 2017, and one of my I was gonna say big regrets ever. That feels a little extreme as words filtered through my head.
Can't wait to see what it is.
This was recorded the night after Skankfest. I believe the first Skankfest that I attended. And in hindsight, I just wish I figured out a way to have stayed for this. To be there for this would have been very cool. But I was at the behest of drivers, people with licenses. So I couldn't do it, unfortunately. But a couple things you guys should know just as setup. If you aren't aware of this, it just makes these jokes may come up a couple of times. So Florentine got a divorce because his wife cheated on him with a cop. That's something you'll probably need to know. Voss and Bonnie are married. I'm trying to think of what else. There might be another one I have to preface, but I can't remember. But those are some that you should know going in.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah. If you guys have never seen this, then I definitely recommend you go check it out afterwards, because at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna have too many clips, and then by the end of it I tried to limit myself a little bit, and I was like, fuck, I'm missing a lot of great jokes. Like, we have a lot of great ones, but there are also a lot that I didn't pull for this. So definitely go back and watch it yourself. It's like an hour and 20 something minutes. Definitely worth your time. It's free on YouTube. You can go check it out. Yeah, they tried to sell it for a while, and I don't know why they weren't able to. It's like, it's like we were saying, this episode isn't up yet, but go listen when it comes out to the Colin Quinn episode with Christian Blatt, because it's like I was saying to him, for whatever reason, the industry never wanted to or was never able to figure out how to monetize these guys. Like there's this cult audience that they could never tap into, or more likely the answer is that they were afraid of because of, racial the language and all that kind of stuff. That's the other thing I meant to set up. I'm sorry. Cumia and Keith Robinson are both in the audience for this. Keith Robinson had a stroke a year prior. He would have been on the dais otherwise, but he was replaced with Louis J. Gomez, his ethnic fill-in. And Cumia yells from the audience once or twice, so we'll address that when it comes up. But that's pretty much everything you need to know as we get into it.
Yeah, this first clip is just a perfect summation of the dais.
Yeah. Oh, and it does start with an intro, and I always say I hate comedy intros. It was kind of a sketch of Vos explaining his career, and it actually was very funny. Just hearing Vos like try to be sincere, but the video is mocking him basically.
Yeah.
It's very well done. And then we get right into it. Bonnie McFarlane, Rich Voss's wife and a very funny comedian, is the MC of this, and she sums up, like I said, if you aren't a Tough Crowd or Opie and Anthony fan, this is a good description of what we're about to embark on.
This is like the petri dish of rape culture. Right here. If you like inside jokes about serious radio, second-rate podcasts, and canceled TV shows, you've come to the right place.
That's pretty much what it is.
Exactly what it is.
But that's what was great. Like how, again, I'll probably reference the Colin Quinn episode a couple more times, but in that episode, we play Colin roasting Howard. And so Howard used to put on these roasts. Geraldo would be a part of them, Nick DiPaolo, all these great guys. And, what was great about them is you feel like you're part of it because you're listening to these guys so intimately. You listened to them on Opie and Anthony every single day, or you're listening to their podcast every single week. That's what makes those audiences so devoted. I mean, no one knows it better than Minifans, obviously. You feel like you're a part of it. You're just listening. You're sitting in your car, at your desk, whatever. But you feel like you're part of it, and you develop a relationship with these people. So it is a lot of inside jokes, and that's what makes people connect with it so much. And that's what I think the industry missed out on with a lot of these guys. There's a lot of comedians out there that are very, famous and have name recognition, but their audience, they don't resonate with their audience the way that a lot of these guys do.
Yep. And just to give an idea how this roast was stacked wise, it starts with Jim Norton.
Yeah, so we play. I pulled a clip from everybody, so we will hear from everyone by the time we're done. That's why I didn't rattle off all the names, but you can probably guess most of them.
Fucking Voss is so stupid too. Like he gave this roast. He goes, "I got 100 industry seats." This is not an event, you fucking idiot. What do you think? People in the industry are like, let's go out on a Monday night. We'll watch this nobody get assaulted by other nobodies. Do you realize if a fire broke out and we were all killed, the headline would read, Colin Quinn and others killed at an event for somebody. We're celebrating 60 years of no accomplishments. And all of these faces on the day is you have not made a new friend in 25 years.
Well, I mean, Lewis and Jay are there. That's something. That's improvement. Yes. But it's so there. Here's the thing I love about roasts too, and this is what Rickles was great at, is there are formulaic roast jokes that will always work if they're delivered properly. Like the idea, if this plane went down, it would just read, the one most famous guy there and others killed in crash. It's like that joke's been done before, but just the thing about roasts is it's more your delivery and your timing. Where if it's mean enough, it will get a laugh.
Right, exactly. And speaking of mean, this is the first shot at Florentine's wife.
Oh well, before the other thing too is Bonnie, after she's made the joke about inside radio and all that stuff, she goes, it wasn't even really a joke. She goes, Jim, I can't listen to your show. I'm sorry, it's so awful. I'd rather listen to my daughter drown. And then when Norton got up there, he goes, you know, Bonnie, if you want to see your daughter drown, just have her stand under your husband while he's talking.
What a day.
Yeah, like I said, I left a lot of jokes on the cutting room floor, as it were, so I'll repeat a lot of them myself.
And Jim Florentine, the only thing he's worse at than comedy is satisfying his wife sexually. Jim is doing so bad in comedy, his wife left him for a 22-year-old rookie cop, and people still accuse her of doing it for the money. Bob Kelly, Bobby, I see every year you're getting new glasses so you can see your feet. That's a great jacket. You look like Marlon Brando's wake. I did just write that.
I wanted to leave that Bob Kelly thing in there because, like, that's something you get at these roasts among friends that you wouldn't with, you know, a bunch of famous people that don't know each other. Because, like the idea of Bobby yelling, you just wrote that, basically just pointing how quick fucking Norton is. Because you might not even think of that. It's like, oh, yeah, obviously the joke's about his coat, so he must have just written it. But, like, Norton, and that's why he's one of the greatest comedians to ever be on radio, because he's so fucking quick.
It's crazy.
And what I've heard is, obviously, they haven't had video until, like, recently. Like, then the glory days of Opie and Anthony didn't have video, so you would never really know this. But I guess, like, he's on his phone all the time, so it doesn't even seem like he's paying attention. Or he's just like kind of looking around, and and then it'll come out with a brilliant line. And that was one of my favorite a Joe List line that I love. He was on with Bob Kelly and Mike Calta, and I guess Calta was ignoring Joe List and was just like on his phone. And he goes, "Hey, you remind me of Norton without the brilliant lines."
We're moving to Barney's coming after Norton. Barney comes up and
yeah. So Norton crushed, and then this is Bonnie in between Norton and Louis J. Gomez, I believe.
Jim's going to be in the. I hope I'm allowed to say this. So Jim's going to be in the new Philadelphia reboot. He's playing the part of the AIDS. Bobby, one more, and then you, if you want to start walking to the podium.
I think that's so hilarious because you never see that done where the MC roasts the person that's about to be up. It's just like, you make a joke about Norton, then you make a joke about Lewis, and bang, you're out. To just have a drive-by shot at Bobby's being fat for no reason. You want to start making your way up here.
It was for a reason. It was very funny.
Well, yeah, of course.
This next clip is Lewis's writing.
Yeah, so Lewis, this is 6 years ago. So Lewis is still like a young comedian. He's only like 34 at this time.
He looks so young in this. It's crazy.
He's pretty young, and based on like achievements, he probably shouldn't be up here. Based on everyone else that's up there. The second least successful guy would be probably Joe DeRosa. Or yeah, Judy Gold, I guess.
Yeah.
Like these are all super established people in the industry. So, and Lewis is there because, the kind of rule of roast is like you have a fat guy, you have a broad, and you have an ethnic for those kind of lightning rods,
Right.
So Lewis replaced Keith Robinson, and he's a young guy, so they're going to bust his balls. And this is another example of why these moments are so great. Like the only example you get from like Comedy Central is when The Situation. Remember we played that?
Yes.
Where The Situation did a roast, and Jeff Ross was giving him shit.
Yeah.
That you need something like that that's so drastic where the other comedians are going to bust his balls. This is a much more genuine moment of Lewis being a little green.
Bobby's lovely wife, Dawn, is here. Bobby only married Dawn because every time he said her name, he was reminded of what time he started feeding.
Did you write that one?
I wrote them all, bitch.
That's pretty obvious.
That was DeRosa. But folks,
It's pretty obvious. I will say, in Lewis's defense, he started off not that great, but did really, really well by the end.
well, that's what we were about to play. He does rally, and he says that another reason I wish I was there, because it doesn't seem like they cut much of this roast out.
Right.
But I heard him on a podcast once tell a joke that he had. Maybe they cut it out because it was Anthony, and Anthony wasn't on the dais. But there are jokes about Anthony, so I don't know why this wasn't left in, if he told it. But around this time, Louis J. Gomez just broke up with Karen Feehan, and they're like friends now. She's on their podcast all the time and all that shit. But at the time, it was a little ugly. There was some like weirdness publicly. And so Louis said that Karen Feehan started doing Anthony's show a lot right around that time as well. And people said, a lot of people are asking me if I'm mad that Anthony has my ex-girlfriend on his show all the time. And no, I'm not mad at all. In fact, I wish he would date her. Now, this is right after Anthony just got arrested for domestic violence.
That's fucking hilarious.
So I don't know why that wasn't on there, but
oh, that's very funny.
I butchered the delivery. But this is Louis picking up a little steam towards the end of his set.
Rich's house burnt down recently. They could have saved it, but half of the emergency response team was fucking Florentine's wife.
That's great. That's just good old fashioned fun. Because Rich and Bonnie's house did burn down. Bonnie has a story on Ari Shafir's "This Is Not Happening," where she tells, like, basically being investigated for fraud or something.
Because it was the cops knew Vos.
Yeah, right. A little Vos lightning, I see.
Next we have Bobby Kelly.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Is I feel like I left. There's some guys I left 2 or 3 jokes in, but it's all pretty quick. So I left a lot of jokes out. So make sure you go, if you're enjoying these, go watch the whole thing, I would suggest.
Listen, this is one thing I want to say. Bonnie dated this, before Vos, dated this beautiful guy, Nathan Fillion. And then she actually dumped this guy and now she wound up with Vos. Let's go over some of his credits. He was he was on Modern Family, The Big Bang Theory, Firefly. He did Serenity the movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, and a syndicated network show, Castle, on ABC. 173 shows on network fucking television. He made $100,000 an episode. Rich Vos, credits, 2016. Carmine's Comedy Club, Poughkeepsie. Maxwell's, Hoboken, New Jersey. Oh, it gets better. Winston's and an NA convention in Minnesota. Yeah. Your husband doesn't even work the club we're doing the roast in. Good choice, Bonnie.
There's something about, like, just knowing what sounds to use, what letters are the funniest sometimes. Because like, even if the comedy mothership was in Poughkeepsie would be a hilarious. It would sound like a rinky-dink operation.
Sounds funny, middle of
Carmine's
nowhere.
Comedy Club in Poughkeepsie. But before that bit, I assume that's true that she really did date Nathan Fillion. But Bobby made a joke about other comics Bonnie has dated, and he threw in the name Godfrey. And based on Vos and Bonnie's reaction, he's like, fuck, is that true? I was kidding. I'm making that up. And then Anthony yells from the crowd, "Don't worry, Vos, it was Gilbert."
That was one of my favorite parts. But
yeah, so Bobby did very well. I would say so far, Norton, Bobby, and then Lewis is how I would rank the sets that we've seen. And Bonnie probably behind Norton. Bonnie was great throughout this.
Yep. But every show needs a little downtime. So here's Judy Gold.
This is rough. And I got to tell you, I played right out of the gate, so you would see like how bad this was immediately. But when I went and rewatched it today, just to refresh my memory a little bit, it's bad the whole time.
The entire time, and the only time
she has one or two zingers that are not bad.
Yeah, but
for the most part,
the big laughs from the set are from other people up there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the other thing is it's not even her jokes that are bad. It's you'll see.
Just watch.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I just want you to take a look at this dais. This is the reason I'm a lesbian. That's it? What the fuck? Seriously?
Well, like right out of the gate, it's like, what? That's it? Like she's angry. It's like that was a pretty generic joke. Like, hey, these ugly men are why I'm a lesbian. Ha ha ha.
And they generously laughed.
It's fine, whatever. I would if I just heard that, I wouldn't be like, oh my god, she's bombing.
Right.
And yet she's screaming at the audience right out of the gate.
A lot of people don't know this, but for Rich's birthday, they're coming out with a new men's fragrance called Vos. It makes you smell like you're jealous of Louis C.K. They get fucking applause breaks. I get shit. Okay. I'm so happy my friend Colin Quinn is here. I've loved Colin for years, and he's so busy these days. We weren't sure he was going to make it, but thank God Ryan Hamilton was available to take his place in Jerry Seinfeld's Sphincter. Fuck! Jerry Seinfeld's Sphincter. You can't. You say it.
I say it. Jerry, no.
I was like, don't pull me into your bomb.
He was about to help and then realized what he would have been doing. He was like, I can't have my name on this.
Seinfeld Sphincter. So, I mean, that was an epic bomb. When I rewatched it, I was like, maybe we should do a whole episode on this.
We could have.
It was crazy.
Because I rewatched 2 nights ago, and her set was worse than I remembered.
Yeah. It's really bad, and again, it's bad. Like a lot of the jokes are very generic, and she has a couple okay ones, but it's bad because she's yelling at the audience for not laughing. And I don't. This is all I really know of Judy Gold's comedy. I've heard her on there. I've never been much of a fan. But like I had some amount of respect for her, purely because she was a semi-regular on Tough Crowd. She's always been around these guys, and I was like, okay, these guys respect her. She must be a decent comic,
right?
But this was a rough showing if you weren't familiar with her comedy at all.
They're just like, nope, she's just a nice lady.
I guess, yeah, I don't know.
But thank God we're gonna move on.
Well, actually, she's not that nice a lady because she went after fucking Gillis and tried to get him canceled.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, let's move on to better things. Joe DeRosa.
Well, Joe DeRosa, I think, sums up her act quite nicely.
Judy Gold looks and sounds like Dr. Moreau merged a falcon with a Jew. Judy was yelling at all of you because you weren't getting the reception you wanted. Judy, write better jokes. That's all. Everything about Judy Gold.
It's just write better jokes.
Go back just a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Everything about Judy Gold screams kike louder than I do when I read about Rupert Murdoch.
It's funny because it's like kind of a slam on him in a way, in a weird way.
Right.
But DeRosa fucking crushes.
Yes.
And he has one of my favorite jokes I've ever heard about Colin Quinn. I didn't cut it for this because we used it at the end of the Colin Quinn episode. And that's actually what reminded me to do this as an episode was pulling that Joe DeRosa joke about Colin Quinn and making fun of his one-man shows, which is incredibly funny. But DeRosa crushes in this.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a taste of DeRosa. Like, I think DeRosa could be a Larry David-esque character.
Easily.
He's always in fights with people. I think he's a great podcast / radio because he's always in fights with people. He's always fucking aggravated. And I think Taste Buds has kind of enabled him to show the fun side of that. You know what I mean? Like, he would get in these. Well, we did the Cumia versus DeRosa episode. He would get very sensitive about things. I think taste buds, because the nature of the podcast is so silly. Like him and Sal will passionately argue about, cookies or whatever. And so because it's such a silly topic, I think it's allowed him to show how funny he is in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
And like if he ever releases his hour, I've been hyping it up. I hope he eventually puts out the fucking special.
This better be the best thing I've ever seen.
I could have been drunk, who knows? But I thought it was great.
I've always liked DeRosa.
Yeah, so like I hope he puts out more stuff. But then is this his closer, basically, the story that he tells?
The Uber driver? Yeah.
So like, he has a bunch of good slams, but this is him telling a story about an Uber ride he was taking on his way out to New York.
It was a true story. I was in an Uber recently with my friend Patrick, and out in LA where I live, and we were going to someplace, and my friend Pat goes, "Hey, what do you got to do next week?" And I said, "Hey man, I got to go out to New York. I got to do the Rich Vos roast. So I got to start writing some jokes for it." And the Uber driver, who didn't speak to us for 30 minutes of the drive, turned around for the first time and went, "That'll be an easy fucking roast." That is a true story. And I thought, doesn't that sum up Rich Vos? Well known, but not respected at all by the people that don't matter. I love you, buddy.
It's of course very mean, but also true in a way, where it's like Vos is well known. Like if you're a comedy fan, you know who Rich Vos is. He's never been respected.
No.
And the people that know him, it's not Ted Sarandos at Netflix.
No, they seem to just look past them.
It's unfortunate, and that's why I wish a roast like this got more popular. I think it has close to 1 million views on YouTube, but but still not what it deserved necessarily. I think what it is like, and this is what I say about Tom Myers and Brendan Schaub and Stuttering John, and it's the muscle we're learning Richard Ojeda has.
I think so.
That you allow yourself to be the punching bag, even and still respect yourself in some way.
Right.
Where like Vos was the punching bag on Opie and Anthony forever. And I think it was to his detriment in a way, because I think a lot of even the younger guys that came up didn't give him the respect that he deserved necessarily. But he has a sense of humor about himself, and he knows he's funny. And Colin Quinn always calls him the king of the counterpunch, because you can beat him down for a while, but once he gets backed enough into a corner, he'll fucking start spitting at you.
Yes, he will. Next, we have who I think did the best on this show, which any Minifans might be shocked by that news.
Yeah. So I knew you were going to say that, actually. So Jim Florentine is next. And I got to say, rewatching it, he's clearly murdering in the room. He's killing. Watching back, I thought it was kind of like, I thought some of the jokes were a little generic, honestly.
So this was also like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I think the way his set went is he comes out the gates very strong.
Yeah. I think he's a little lucky that DeRosa lubed people up after Judy Gold dried everyone out.
Right.
But
in the middle, it drops down a little, and I was like, oh, and then he finishes strong again.
Yeah, so you know what? In the comments, guys, let us know what you think. Do you agree with Craig or agree with me? I don't think it's great. He's clearly crushing in the room. Craig agrees. But this is probably his best joke, or definitely the joke that people reference the most after this was done.
This is so dumb. I love it.
Look, you got to hand it to Bonnie. She achieved her lifelong dream as a comic to come to America and get stupid rich.
Bonnie loved that one.
but yeah, overall, I didn't think he was killing. Like a lot of the stuff he did, like he lists at the end people that are Vos's, like celebrities that were born the same year as Vos, and it's like Osama bin Laden was one. And he's like, one has been, I don't know, terrorizing America or whatever. The other is Osama bin Laden. Shit like that where I was like,
Yeah, right.
I didn't love it. But he's clearly murdering in the room. And I think this is Bonnie's response, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Bonnie acknowledges that he's killing, but to mention the Minifans, she previously agreed with what some of you probably think about.
She points out that was an anomaly.
Jim Florentine. Wow. Why don't you do that on a special? Jim's ex-wife left him for a cop. Do I even have to say it? She left you for someone who can kill. You should have showed her this. We have next Seinfeld, Schumer, Rock, Sandler. These are just some of the big names that couldn't make this next comic famous. Please welcome Colin Quinn.
See, here's the thing about Bonnie, and here's what I'll say about, because Bonnie made a documentary called "Women Aren't Funny," and basically trying to expose the opposite, that women are funny. And what I think, and this is what I always say about Nikki Glaser and comedians of her ilk, is it's not that she's not funny. Like, guys will be like, "Oh, she's not funny. I don't get why she's so popular." Her comedy's not targeted towards us. It's not targeted to guys. You know what I mean? Right. Bonnie's is. And I think that's a rarer breed of female comedian. So it's why it seems like there are so few hilarious women. But it's just I think a lot of female comedians are more geared toward women. And the ones that are geared toward men are generally more stand-up comedy fans. So they stand out. I see a lot of... I say that a lot with Jordan Jensen, who I think is hilarious, but she's, one of the guys, quote unquote. And all I really mean by that is her comedy I relate to more than, a female that's talking about dating from a woman's perspective. I just don't relate to it as much because I am a guy,
Right. And Bonnie being a woman does show up in this at some points.
How what do you mean?
I know there's a couple of jokes she says, and I was like, ugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I would say she crushed the whole thing.
Yeah, I think she killed. She did very well.
But next we have Quinn also talking about Florentine.
Yeah, so this is for my money. CQ was the best of them. I think Colin Quinn and DeRosa and Norton and Big J.
I was going to say legitimately everyone but Judy Gold crushed.
Yeah, everyone did very well. Lewis, you can't say crushed.
He crushed the back half.
But the second half, he did great. Yeah. And Bobby was killing in the room, but again, wasn't necessarily my favorite. But yeah, right. The Nathan Fillion thing fucking murdered.
Right.
So yeah, other than Judy Gold, everyone was on fire. And it's because, the idea of roasting Rich Vos to this group of guys it's a comedy field trip. It's we really get to do that. You know what I mean?
You mean
I know, because like I said, this was the day after Skankfest, so Kreischer and Nate Bargatze and a lot of these guys were in the room just because they wanted to see the spectacle,
Right. But here's Quinn.
I gotta follow Florentine, who just crushed, man. Oh my God. Your whole life is like a hip hop soundtrack. 15 years ago, you're hanging out with Eminem singing Real Slim Shady. Next thing you know, your wife is NWA, fuck the police,
Just also, I should mention, for anyone that doesn't know, Eminem was a big Crank Yankers fan. That's where that reference comes from.
Yeah. It just, his whole being of not seeming like he wants to be there is what makes it extra funny to me.
NWA.
It's not funny. I don't know how that relationship didn't work. She was 22. You were coming home. Honey, I interviewed the drummer from Quiet Riot today.
And we talk a lot about this in the Colin Quinn episode, but his references are beautiful. He knows, you might get more reaction from a more notable band, but he just knows saying Quiet Riot is funnier. Drummer from Quiet Riot.
Here's more Colin.
Okay.
You got Judy Gold. Judy, how do you stand living on the Upper West Side with all those loud, overbearing Jews? I like that haircut. It's what you go in and say, give me the relief pitcher for the Mets. You look like a public advocate for the de Blasio administration. You got Luis Gomez, the Puerto Rican rattlesnake. What is it? How does a Puerto Rican rattlesnake shed skin? It's taking your shirt off on the 5 train.
It's what's brilliant about that Lewis joke is like it's both a racial joke about Puerto Ricans, but also specific to Lewis. And the visual everyone understands. It's so well done.
But next we have the closer, aside from Vos, Big J.
Yeah, like I said, Colin also I thought we had another Colin one, but yeah, he also crushed. But Big J, this is an interesting spot for him because again, Jay is
that was my first thought.
He would have been what, 39 here? Same, I think he's about the same age as DeRosa, but DeRosa was closer with a lot of these guys, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how close Jay was to Vos or anything, but like, I guess they just trusted how fucking funny he is and put him last, which is a tough spot for him.
And a gigantic compliment.
Yeah, an amazing, especially after Colin.
Right.
Who's the biggest name there and probably the funniest, So that's a tough spot to put him in, but he certainly delivered.
I've told you that 1,000 times, Bonnie. Honestly, one of my favorite comics. She's fantastic. I did a lot of thinking about why she's so unsuccessful. I think I figured it out. Inside Amy Schumer is a classic sketch show on Comedy Central that opened the doors for movies and superstardom. And inside Bonnie McFarlane is where Rich Vos shoots cum.
I also love that you hear, what's amazing is I said Bert Kreischer was there. You don't hear his laugh at all, I don't think. But you hear that DeRosa evil laugh.
Yeah.
And you hear Kumia's laugh once in a while.
Yeah, and Bobby Kelly.
Yeah.
But here we have Jay talking about Patrice.
Yeah, so this was nice because Jay, being kind of one of the outsiders a little more, was probably more willing. I think, a lot of those guys don't want to reference Patrice because it's like they've done it so much. But Jay was in probably more of a position to do it, and I like that he did because you get a couple Patrice jokes. Like, it wouldn't be a Vos roast, I feel like, without a couple Patrice jokes in there. And Jay delivers a couple of his lines very well.
Joe, you look like the voice black comedians do for white people. I hate to get misty here, but I always say if somebody said it better, you should just quote them. But the late, great Patrice O'Neill said two of the funniest things. I think one of the first times he ever met Joe about DeRosa made me laugh so hard I thought I would just repeat them. And that was Joe came around, they were shitting all over his shoulders. And Patrice said that Joe DeRosa can never wear a book bag because it's like end up around his elbows. He said that Joe's father can never have a sentimental speech with him because he'd be like, Joe, let me talk to you. Hey.
That's such a perfect, you can tell that's a Patrice observation.
Yes.
Who the fuck else would think of a father putting his hand on his boy's shoulder and slipping off? That's how shoulderless this man is. I should mention another great DeRosa joke that I forgot to include was that when Bonnie brought him on stage, this was Vos's 60th birthday. That was the occasion for this roast. And Joe DeRosa, give it up for Bonnie McFarlane, really showing the length she'll go not to fuck her husband on his birthday. Nice to have a Patrice reference and add this to the long list of things it was a shame Patrice wasn't around for, because him being part of a Vos roast would have been unreal.
He would have been in the J spot for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But here's Jay talking about Colin Quinn and Jim Norton.
The Colin thing is great, and like I think I might have mentioned this on the Colin Quinn episode. Go check out that Colin Quinn episode, guys. It's gonna be a doozy.
Actually, this comes out first, so it'll be out in like a week or something.
Yeah, it'll be out next Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
What an amazing few years. A one-man show machine. You know them. Unconstitutional. The other one, something about being Irish. You can now buy them all in one set called the Jerry Seinfeld Owes Me One collection. Did you see Seinfeld kill a hooker or something? What does he owe you? Did you front him money for a road pussy abortion? Jim Norton, the great Jim Norton.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I just wanted to say it's so funny that he addressed that, because it's like, why Jerry Seinfeld is an executive producer on Tough Crowd, every one-man show that he's done, and Cop Show. And it's like Seinfeld must just love Colin that much and yet not have enough pull to make these things successful. It's like Colin is brilliantly funny and he has the backing of Jerry Seinfeld, and yet none of these have taken off for some reason.
And then Jerry's like, how about a show where I just drive a car around for 10 minutes? Will that work?
Everyone's like, yes, it's brilliant. How do you do it, Jerry?
Born in Bayonne, New Jersey, to his mother, a librarian, and his father, a pond turtle.
I wanted to leave that in there because Norton always references that. He goes, it's another, I say this all the time, but another example of language, like, and his father, a turtle, wouldn't have been that funny. For some reason, pond turtle makes that hilarious. Just adding that little thing makes it very funny for some reason.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, so Jay also crushed. That's like good for Lewis and Jay in this, because, like I said, they were especially Lewis. He was very young for this, so it was kind of a cool opportunity.
And thank God he ended strong.
yeah.
But here we have Vos.
Although I will say a Lewis bombing would have been much funnier than a Judy. Like Lewis would have taken the whole dais down with him if he truly bombed.
You'd have broke the podium or something.
yeah.
But here's Rich.
Okay. Finally, the man of the hour.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this is fucking amazing. Before I get started, I just want to say this weekend I'll be at Gotham Friday and Saturday. 2
Plugging
shows
his dates.
Friday, 3 Saturday.
That's a common joke, because he always sells his own merch and he's always having his dates.
He's selling his CDs after his show, even up until like a few years ago.
Headlining, doing an hour this weekend. This is fucking amazing. Let's use it. Where's Anthony? Oh, there he is over there. No matter what Anthony has gone through, he is a fucking great broadcaster. No, whoa. I mean, he puts broads in casts. Okay. Fucking Keith, I really wish you were a fucking Keith, man. God damn, how much I love you so much. I was with Keith when he had a stroke. We were playing golf. I marked it down.
That's the most intellectual joke you've ever told.
I'm glad she said that, because I loved his delivery of like vaudevillian. I marked it down. But anyways. Very funny. And again, like Vos, here's the thing about Vos. Why I love him so much is like he is a legend. You know what I mean? Like he is the stories of him are legendary. You know, comedy fans know him and have consumed his content over and over again. And there's so many funny Vos moments. But also he has a little bit of that delusion. Like I do think he's not fully in on why legend is. I think he is to an extent, but I think he also thinks like he should have been a lot bigger in the big. Like he has enough of that delusion that guys like Tom Myers just do not. And someone actually commented on we're recording this right after the Tom Myers episode of Why You Laughing came out. And someone was like, you got to understand, if Tom Myers was self-aware, we lose Tom Myers.
Good point.
And I think that's a good point. But I wish he just had enough where he could beat Tom Myers, he could tell the bong hit transplant joke, but also get his balls busted by Nick Mullen to his face,
Right.
And that's what I think. That's what I think. Now, Vos, it's unfair to compare them as comedians. Vos is obviously a very funny guy.
Significantly better, I'd say.
Yeah.
But the next one's them piling on Rich.
Yeah, this is a type of Vos moment I'm talking about, where he's just an old man who loses his notes.
Where the fuck is Colin? Hold on. I know it by heart.
He always ends so strong.
Colin, who fucking panicking. It's your roast. I'm not panicking. I'm trying to find it.
Leave the glasses on, Dum-Dum. It's like watching an illiterate pretend he knows how to read. Let me just shuffle these papers around.
It's like watching the Cosby Witness on the stage.
It's like watching a dumb Jew.
Good. All right, good. Slow down. Fucking assholes.
There's the Cumia laugh you hear off in the distance, and he has a great. Him and Cumia have a great back and forth.
Oh, it's the best.
Where I should have included that too. I'm sorry.
Gives him a reason to go watch.
Yeah, he goes back and forth with Cumia, and Cumia makes a joke about fucking his daughter, and Vos has daughters in their 20s, and he also has one who's young. And he goes, she's too old for you. She's 10.
You don't see Cumia get bested very often.
No,
something like that.
You can tell Cumia is drink. Oh, this is again right after Cumia got out of mandatory rehab, basically, as part of his probation. And you can tell Cumia is had a few drinks. He's not shit faced, but you can tell he's feeling it.
Yeah.
And Vos Cumia yells something, and Vos just goes, "I'm glad to see rehab worked."
Yeah, and then
they share a great Opie joke. That was fun.
A great Opie joke, and then I forget what the last joke was, but Vos hits him with the hammer of, "All right, your turn," and he says nothing back.
Yeah.
But this is our last clip here.
Yeah, I know we flew through these. Damn, I should have grabbed more. But yeah, go watch it if you enjoyed this. And that's what I try to keep in mind is most of the people that are watching this probably have watched it. So I didn't want to be too clip heavy, but if you haven't, definitely check it out. And this is Vos closing.
It's a tough crowd. He had a great cast. 2 are dead now. 1 had a stroke. 2 do shitty radio, and 1 is a legend. Thank you. Good night.
It's funny that Vos weasel his way into the tough crowd regulars, because I don't think he was on a lot, but I think the cast, quote unquote, was Patrice, Keith, Geraldo, DePaulo, and Norton.
Right.
And Vos has just kind of included himself in that over the years. He was on a bunch, but I don't know. He was on. I mean, he was on the one that mattered with Dat Fan.
He was.
That's what really matters. But yeah,
yeah.
Unbelievable roast. As I've said 15 times already, definitely go check it out. It's a shame there aren't more like that. And I guess I understand it because from Comedy Central's perspective, or now Netflix has tried a couple, I think. And I guess from their perspective is the way you get people to now, click on it on Netflix is if fucking Kim Kardashian is in the front page picture.
Right.
Whereas if it was this group of guys, or a Philly roast with for Shane Gillis or something like that, those would be so much funnier than the roast of Justin Bieber or whoever. But so be it. That's where we are in the state of comedy, and we can appreciate it. And it gives us more of a chance to expose you guys to stuff, lesser known stuff like this. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, we have other roasts to get to in the future here on Patreon, so we'll make sure to do that. We'll also keep doing the radio segments we've been doing, and any other suggestions you guys have, leave them in the comments, message me, whatever. Let people know to subscribe. If you know anyone that likes Why You Laughing, but they're not on the Patreon, make sure you let them know. And that's it. We'll talk to you guys next time on Why You Laughing.
Thank you for watching.